Racing. Today we were at Darlington, one of the greatest tracks on the NASCAR circuit for the annual Throwback race. And best believe it, we were excited about it. I done my best Kyle Busch cutoff. We got the Bodine X-Side jacket out. Yep. We were ready for this one today. And it was a good solid day of racing.
Yeah, it was. The new car was looking good on the oldest track.
Right.
Very exciting race today.
Tire wear, people were loose, cars were a little bit on edge. We saw even guys spinning themselves out, which is rare, but it gave a little extra edge to the race where it felt like everybody was a little bit on edge all through the race. It keeps you on your toes at Darlington.
Yeah, very exciting. Some pretty big wrecks, some contenders being taken out entirely.
Yeah.
So, made for a very exciting race.
Yeah.
And obviously, all the throwback fun is just a great touch. We look forward to this race every year.
Definitely.
And the fashion, besides the paint schemes, it's a spectacular fashion show.
Saw a guy in a whole cold trickle fire suit out there in the crowd. We definitely got to make it out to that race sometime. It's a track I haven't been to. I've always wanted to. So maybe next year we can catch the throwback. I think a throwback should be both races.
Yeah.
And they should both be at night. But hey, that's me. I'm a dreamer. But, might not be able to have everything you want. But one throwback weekend, it is special and it keeps it fun. It would be kind of cool if it was the fall one, though. Because you can bust out all your crazy old school jackets and stuff like that.
Oh, and fire suits and everything.
Yeah, the whole kit and caboodle. So.
Yeah.
But
even this fashion show was fun.
Yeah,
and everybody in the booth.
Right.
And
Hall
down
of Fame
in the pits
guys.
Getting into it. So that was fun to see.
Right. Bill Elliott was rocking like his uncle's shirt from '82. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like a good thing. I love that NASCAR for a long time felt like it ran away from its past, but the throwback weekend's a good reminder of there's some awesome stuff back there.
Yeah.
We'll obviously get to the paint and all that stuff towards the end, but we saw old Logano win it this week. He's not really our favorite driver. He pulled a little bit aggressive move at the bump at the end. It was, I don't know what it was. It didn't kind of look like it hit him that hard, but it really upset his car. And I was trying to watch it. There was a whole nother lap, but I think he fell off or something went a little bit awry on his rider because of it. But it's beginning to be kind of a theme this year. It seems like.
Yes. Very aggressive year.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll take it. I'll take that over gentlemanly racing, I suppose. I mean, I like it a little bit spicy. I can't lie. I think everybody does. But even if you claim that you might not like it, it's a little bit dirty. It made it exciting. The only problem is it was Logano. That's why the people were booing. If it was Reddick winning his first race, coming close there, I was hoping Reddick was going to catch him at the end. Was what I was hoping
that would have
for.
Been great and exactly what Joey would have deserved.
And if Byron and Logano would have taken each other out, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping for that finish, but.
But no, Logano executed it perfectly and gets his first win of the season. First in 40 races. So over a year since he's won a legitimate race and not just
the Coliseum or whatnot. Yeah. The Ice Cube Pitbull race.
The NASCAR type theatrical hybrid event.
The Pitbull 100. Oh, man. But so that's got to feel good for him, coming out of a long stretch, being a driver who is truly capable of winning every week, whether we like him or not. He's a bit of a nerd. He wears glasses. That's pretty nerdy. I don't know if you guys know that. He's a Four Eyes.
Yeah. And I think Byron definitely won a few fans tonight.
Well, Logano's just also kind of like me. His little pit interview was funny because he claimed that he had something this race. That's what it sounded like to me anyways. It was this race they had an incident, but everybody's like, what happened? Nobody remembers this.
It looked like retribution.
I think he made it up. I think
he's salty that Byron beat him at Martinsville.
Oh, that's right.
That seems to be the only retribution I can think of.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But nevertheless, anyways, it's just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Our number one boy, Kyle Busch, had a little bit of a rough day. He was looking tough. He had a good killer throwback way to the old school M&Ms, the oldest one, I think, which was cool looking, but got caught up in a little bit of Brad Keselowski sloppy seconds.
Brad Keselowski causing nothing but trouble this
year.
Oh,
Keselowski. You're winning your Violet Defense paint car ain't winning our hearts. You're breaking our hearts with just subpar. You had to do it. You had to go on your own team, didn't you?
Yeah. And now he'll suffer that curse.
You're going to suffer the wrath.
And I guess everyone else will suffer for it, too.
Yeah.
But both Kyles not finishing the race.
Right.
Larson also appearing very strong in that beautiful paint scheme.
Yeah, he had a killer vintage Hendrick number going on there and was looking tough. Of course, that's a Larson track you would think it would be great at.
Yeah.
Just kind of a surprisingly not dominant performance out from him this year that we expected and kind of talked about and predicted. So that's been a bit of an interesting. I kind of remember saying weeks ago, like, yeah, if it keeps going, kind of felt like it has kept going, where it's just a little bit touch and go for him. I don't know why. Still can't put my finger on it.
I don't know if it's the new car or what, but I was certainly expecting him to dominate this year, just like he did last year.
Right.
So it's been weird to see him not perform.
Yeah.
Until he left the race. He was doing well.
Right.
But
he's like a new Marvel movie. Expect like blockbuster numbers. So it just seems like he's a bit like faltering or stammering at first.
And so many DNFs. He's got to be way down there in the points, which is not what you would expect from the reigning champ.
No, not at all. It has definitely been a wild year. With Logano too is another additional driver to the list of drivers that have won this year, which is awesome. So, I mean, even though, again, don't really like Logano that much, he's a nerdy, wears glasses, we got to give it up to the disparity, which is great, which is turning out. I think we joked about it before. Last year they called it the best season ever. No, this season might be the best season ever.
This one, so far, much better than last year.
Yeah.
And it is incredible with the number of different winners we've had. Looks like we very well may have more than 16 before this is over.
That's awesome. Who could call that? You wouldn't have thunk. There's only 2 drivers still with multiple wins, just at 2. That's awesome. Nobody's running away with it this year, it feels like. It feels like anybody's game a lot of weeks, to be fair. I guess we have gotten a big chunk of the season out of the way. We haven't really put a note on that. But, yeah, everybody's got a fair shot. People are running strong. Trackhouse team coming up strong every week. Surprise people in the top 10. Reddick. The leaf filter. Even though we hate the paint scheme, he ran amazing today.
Yeah, he should.
It's been a wild year so far. We're going into a little bit of a lull, I feel like, after this week, but we'll get to that, I guess.
The second week in a row, the race was on FS1, which I don't have cable. Who has cable?
Right. Who's got time for that?
So it does make it more difficult to watch the races.
Right.
And it seems like it's such a terrible waste. If you're trying to grow the fandom, you need to make it more accessible.
Right.
And what else is going on?
This point of the season, not as much competition. Obviously, we can
Baseball?
always talk about football in the fall, but we noticed in this discussion that there's still to this day 4 chase races that aren't on regular TV that are the playoff races that should be important. And then there's stuff like this one where it's like the throwback weekend or Bristol night race in the chase is one of the ones that's not on regular TV. That's not fair to your fans. You're kind of selling us short where, you get some of the best marquee races are I got to go hunt for it, download illegally now, thank you, NASCAR. Because, I don't have cable. It's not fair. There should be a way to access these. I said, pay a couple bucks to stream the race. I'm fine with that. If it's something I really want to watch, I'll throw $5. I throw $5 at a cup of coffee. So what's it to me to throw $5 at a race if I would just want to watch that? And, there's got to be some kind of way. Hopefully something... The television mold feels like an old model where it's so reliant on this. And then stuff happens where, races get parsed out and, some of the good ones end up in, the harder to watch spots.
Yeah.
So, hopefully something comes along with that. I hope NASCAR is listening. It's been, like I said, it feels like an old train of thought. Maybe he needs a little bit more accessibility in the modern age somehow of streaming it or accessing it or something along those lines, maybe.
And I understand the conflict in the fall with football, but come on, it's May. Your only competition is baseball. It'd
be like a rodeo, like on or like figure skating. You know how much time figure skating? Well, how's figure skating got all that money? NASCAR, Monster Energy, Winston Cup, Busch Light Racing doesn't have the money.
It seems incredible that NBC or Fox wouldn't want those races.
Yeah, it's weird. Get it together, NASCAR. That's all we're saying. All right, let's talk about paint because this is the dang on throwback weekend, and we got some paint to talk about.
And we had some incredible paint this week.
Woo!
But we've got to give credit to the King. Best car, 43.
The 43 car, which I happen to have a diecast of, which was his first ever car. It was a convertible. That's all. They used to race convertibles. How crazy is that? But yeah, it matched this paint pretty well with all the same hits. It had numbers on like the trunk and the front of the car, which you were saying how much you liked.
Yeah, I really like the nice big number on the hood.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's something I'd like to see come back.
Right. And as the King, and we're King fans, we're ride or die for the King. He was in the booth, but not really chatty today.
Yeah.
But that's okay. He was still there. And to see his car. Also, they have the 42, which was a Lee Petty tribute to his dad.
It also looked fantastic.
It looked fantastic. It was a bit more of a basic old school one. But the numbers and it had like a reddish orange kind of almost fluorescent.
Yeah, it really popped on the track.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So, yeah, happy to see the King on the top of something. 43 has been doing good this year. The paint's been good. Hey, man, maybe things are finally turning around there.
Yeah, he was doing well and could have had a top 10 finish, but unfortunately got caught up in one of those wrecks.
Yeah.
But, oh well. There's always next week.
We'll get them, boys.
And speaking of poor performers, but great-looking cars, Corey LaJoy, that's 7. Wow.
Yowza. The throwback to Marty Robbins, who, if in case you didn't know, was a country music star, who also drove in NASCAR back in the day because it was some cowboy shit back then. And on top of that, drove the wildest paint scheme that looked like Barney and Friends, like on some 70s stuff. And the colors are wild. They also...
And the triple number?
Yeah, they got away with having the 777s. Like... man, that was awesome. It's kind of surprising that paint had not been done, to my knowledge, during Throwback Weekend yet. There's a lot out there, too. That's the funny thing. There's so many more. Yes. I think that's a good segue to our next one. And the
Trackhouse looked amazing this week. And speaking of having so much to pull from, their inspiration was an exhibition race in Japan from 1998 with Dale Junior and Senior, both racing in Coca-Cola cars.
I think that was the first time they may have raced in cup cars together too in Japan. So yeah, the super randomness of it, the fact that they dialed them in out of nailing a classic paint scheme because they had the sponsor, they had the like very similar number fonts, like it was so dead on. Yeah. That it felt fantastic. And I'd have to give the nod to the one. It was a black car. It was very simple, but somehow just like worked. Like, and it was cool to see the random like polar bear.
Yeah, I remember
vintage.
The
we're a little bit older
from the 90s, so that was nice.
Yeah, it was awesome for sure. And it's Trackhouse is another good like example of like having like multi cars in a team having great paint schemes or similar themed, like a little organization. Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Which we don't see enough of.
Yeah, there should be more of. It feels like that's always been like more of like an IndyCar open wheel, less a NASCAR thing. But hey, I think it's awesome. And then I know what cars are yours, man. Like it only helps.
Yeah. Anyway, coming up in number 4, the 21, Harrison Burton.
Right.
Paying homage to his father.
Hey-o.
With his normal Dex sponsorship, but paying homage to the X-Side paint scheme, which looked great. The hot pink, the Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Loved everything about it.
Yes. As some 90s, 80s kids over here, we were loving it. was the most 90s looking of like the throwbacks this week.
Yeah.
Things were coming from every era, which is awesome. But this one was the most 90s. And that XI car, it's funny, XI's not around anymore. It's like, I feel like they should be, but yeah, it was fantastic. Well done. And another one, good to see on a 21 car, a classic car.
Yeah. And rounding out our list, hard to pick a favorite. Yeah. So because we rag on them so much, this week we're going to give the number 5 position to all of Hendrick Motorsport. All 4 of the cars looked fantastic.
As a team.
Impossible to pick a favorite.
Yeah. As a team, they brought the ruckus, and they were all classic throwbacks that looked fantastic.
Yeah.
So we have to give it to them. When they're right, they're right. When they're wrong, they're wrong. And it's unfortunate that they're also happen to be the evil empire and win everything. But we got it. This is just about paint. We care deeply, deeply about paint. Sometimes even more than the races, if we want to be honest. So this is like our Christmas every year.
Yes, but we had, let's see, Chase in a beautiful Napa car.
Wrecked in practice?
He wrecked it in practice, and I don't know what happened there. He had a backup car that only partially got wrapped.
It was sort of like it.
Yeah, the side had the proper throwback paint scheme, but the hood and roof was white, which was
a disappointment.
The paint scheme he was supposed to have this weekend looked great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And then Byron, of course, had the classic Jeff Gordon,
yeah.
Which, again, he's not our favorite driver, but that was a beautiful car.
Yeah, it's a classic one. You can't go wrong with a classic Gordon. I mean, it's just classic.
Yeah. And the Ally car.
Oh, that one was great.
Mark Martin throwback.
Yeah.
Loved that. If you just made that car the normal Ally colors,
yeah.
run that every week.
That
was beautiful.
Yeah.
Loved it. And then Larson with the Tim Richmond throwback.
Right.
I loved the star with the stripe effect.
Very old school.
Usually don't like white cars, but that one looked great.
It had a little something to it. I remember I said that too. It was kind of, but it was a classic looking, but it's not something you're going to see anymore. Like it was very early 1980s looking. So very cool, and it's like we said, like we like it when a team brings everybody gets the paint. JGR, not to throw anybody under the bus, some of you guys didn't even do anything this weekend. What? What's up with that?
On with JGR?
I don't know. Denny was a throwback to himself. Kyle had the old school M&Ms, and that was it. Am I wrong? The other two guys, nothing.
Bell just had a regular Sirius XM car.
What?
And Truex
Zalta or something.
Whatever it is. And why does Truex always have the worst paint at JGR?
They don't. Yeah,
it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's an insult to Martin.
He should have had like old Bass Pro Shops numbers. Stop, give me something,
How
guys.
many old Bass Pro Shop cars could they have pulled
a million.
For inspiration?
A Tony Stewart. God. I can think of 15 Tony Stewart ones right now.
Yeah, and Denny, I liked the FedEx car, but it was a throwback to himself.
Yeah, which we got to talk about. The throwback to yourself, unless it's like a hot fire paint, like a really sick looking paint scheme, nobody cares. I don't care what your go-kart looked like when you were 12. I don't care what your first late model crate engine shit you drove at your local track when you were 5. Nah, dude, pay some tribute to a legend. Give me a Petty, give me a Yarborough, give me a... You know what was the other thing about Hendrick? Hendrick, if you're listening, I know you're listening. Days of Thunder, the cars we haven't seen, the pink Superflow, the Hardee's car, the Goodies car, these other random cars, I would lose my mind.
How has this not happened?
I don't know.
They've had like not been at Darlington where all 4 Hendrick cars show up in Days of Thunder.
That's crazy.
Games.
They gotta do it.
That's a crime.
We're gonna get on the phone, Mr. H.
It has to happen.
Mr. H, we're gonna call you next week and set up an appointment for paint consolation.
Yeah. Anyway, to call out the worst, and there were a few stinkers this week.
Yeah.
But we gotta give it to Kevin Harvick, a quote unquote throwback to himself, which wasn't a throwback in any way, shape, or form. He had a breast cancer car before. He has another breast cancer car. That's it.
That's it.
That's not a throwback. And again, don't throw back to yourself.
No.
we found at least 4.
Bubba, Harvick,
Bubba?
Logano, all these dudes out here.
And Denny Hamlin. At least 4
And
cars
Denny
were
Hamlin.
throwbacks to themselves.
Ugh.
And they didn't even look good.
Yeah, pay some
The FedEx was okay, but the rest, meh.
Yeah, pay some respect to some legends. I'd like to see more sponsors show out for this. Like, that would be awesome. There's got to be a SDP car. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. I wish everybody would participate, but it seems like extra turdy to not put it together for this one. It's just another wrap. I'm sure a wrap's a couple thousand, but hey, man, Chase should have had 2.
Yeah, how can Hendrick not
I don't know.
get on top of that and have another wrap?
So weird. They hate it, they love it. We love it, they hate it. We
But
love
yeah,
it, we hate it.
I hate all the cars that do nothing. It's lazy. We're not even asking you to design a car. We're asking you to copy one that already exists.
Yeah, or just paint it your car a different color. Do something. Do a very little bit of something.
This, I would love the Darlington Throwback, love everything about it.
Right.
If we're giving it a digger rating,
Oh, right. Diggers.
I think we've got to go 4 diggers.
Yeah, I'd give it 4 diggers. The racing was good. The cars look good. Maybe if the 43 would have won, I'd give it a 5.
Yeah, that would have been a 5 race, absolutely.
Not a 5-er. It's Darlington is kind of dependably exciting. That seems to be lost sometimes with some of the tracks, like maybe some of the ones coming up in the schedule. There's some boring ones out there. We all know it, whether you care to admit it or not. But Darlington is always fun. And I'm excited to go back there in the fall again for a second race. Don't ever not have 2 of them, you know. You got to have at least 2 of those. So, yeah, 4 diggers on this one.
Yeah,
That's
4
solid.
diggers.
That's solid.
And enjoy it while you can, because we got Kansas next week.
Yeah, there's a bit of lull coming up in the schedule, and we might not be as happy and stoked about it as this one with all its revelry and throwback jackets. So there's some boring 1.5s coming up, and they're going to be on cable too. That doesn't help. But, you know, we'll be around. We'll be watching and snacking and trying to keep track of these paint schemes out here for you. So we will see you next week for the Kansas review. Have a good one, guys. Boogity, boogity, boogity.
Amen.